Alice Chambers and her British husband, Jack Chambers, throw a party and invite their closest friends. They drink, dance and play party games. Alice and Jack go for a drive later in the night. In the morning, Alice makes breakfast. She asks Jack how many people are going to be at an upcoming party so she knows how many tuna salads to make. Jack tells her that Frank doesn't like tuna. There's a minor earthquake and the two try holding things in place. All the women in the neighborhood escort their husbands to their cars and watch them drive off. The men drive out of town into the desert to work on something called the Victory Project. Alice exchanges smiles with her best friend Bunny. Alice performs her chores around the house. She goes to a ballet class. A new neighbor, Violet, is introduced to the women. Moments later, Alice and Bunny gossip about Violet and a woman called Margaret. When Alice is folding clothes she dried, she notices Margaret in the distance holding a red toy plane. She ignores the weird encounter and proceeds to cook. But when she pulls out an egg and crushes it, nothing comes out. She pulls out a few more eggs but none of them seem to have any yolk in them. At night, Alice welcomes Jack home and the two get intimate. The ladies gather at the pool and Alice keeps humming a song which's been stuck in her head. She has quick flashes of women dancing in a dark room. The community goes to a welcoming party thrown by Frank and his wife Shelley, who's also the ballet instructor. Margaret interrupts Shelley in the middle of her speech. She tells everyone that none of them belong there. Her husband pulls her away. Everyone's startled. Frank comes in and reassures everyone, saying that Margaret's family is going through a tough time. Later on, Alice goes for a walk and sees Margaret and her husband. He tries giving her some pills but hides it immediately when he sees Alice. Margaret suggests that there's something wrong with the place and that nothing's alright. Alice catches Jack trying on Frank's tie. Soon after, the two share a moment. Alice and her friends meet at the mall and discuss what happened at the welcoming party. Apparently, Margaret, after allegedly seeing something, left the town into the desert, which women are prohibited from doing. And worst of all, she took her son with her. They found her but never found her son. She stood her ground, saying that her son was taken to punish her. Another minor earthquake hits. Peg asks if they ever wonder what the men actually do for work. Bunny, in an attempt to interrupt her, tells them that their jobs are to support the men and nothing more. Everyone agrees. Alice wakes up from another nightmare. She goes through her usual morning routine. She decides to take the bus out of town. Once they reach the ends of the town, the driver tries convincing her to head back to town. But Alice stays, telling him that she's just there for the joyride. A plane flies over them and seems to crash. She tries getting the driver to drive in that direction. He tells her that he doesn't go that way. In frustration, Alice gets off the bus to find the plane. She walks for a very long distance. She doesn't find the plane but rather an unusual structure in the middle of desert. A red light is emitted once she touches it. She sees some unusual flashes. Alice wakes up in her bedroom. Jack claims that Alice was asleep when he got home. This makes her dismiss everything that happened as a bad dream. The next day, as she's cleaning the window, the glass suddenly gets closer. It starts crushing her, then stops. She gets a call. It's Margaret. She tells Alice that she knows she went outside. Alice panics and hangs up. At ballet class, Alice sees Margaret in her reflection. She moves closer to investigate. Margaret starts hitting her head on the glass. Alice shouts in shock. But when everyone turns, there's nothing in the mirror. Alice runs to Margaret's house. She sees Margaret standing on the roof. She slits her throat, then falls to the ground. Before Alice could get to the body, some men in red jumpsuits pull her away. At night, Jack tries assuring Alice that Margaret rather slipped when cleaning the windows and only needs a few stitches. Alice sticks by what she saw. She wants to know what the men actually do at the Victory Project. He tells her that it's confidential. She tries voicing her suspicions, but Jack gets pissed, and insists that they could lose their life together if she keeps acting this way. Later that night, Alice sits in front of the TV, she dozes off and dreams of drowning. She wakes up in front of the window. The next morning, she wraps her head with plastic wrap to see if she's in a dream. She starts suffocating and takes it off in a panic. Dr. Collins comes over and checks on her. He rules it as exhaustion and tries prescribing her some pills. When he opens his briefcase, Alice sees a folder with Margaret's name on it. Alice turns down the pills and Jack sides with her. She asks the doctor what they did for Margaret, but he gives her a vague answer. He also tells them that Margaret's husband, Ted, no longer works for the Victory Project because of recent events. Jack escorts the doctor to his car, but he leaves his briefcase behind. Alice takes out Margaret's folder. When she's alone, she goes through it, but all information about Margaret has been removed. Alice burns it. She goes into the tub and has flashes of the dancers again. Jack tells her that they're going to be late. The two go to a party. The whole community is there, so is Frank and Dr. Collins. Frank keeps staring at her throughout the event. A woman comes to the stage. Alice remembers her from her visions. Frank comes to the stage and makes an announcement. He calls for Jack. Alice tries stopping him, but he goes anyway. Frank congratulates Jack as the new senior exec. Alice runs into the bathroom crying. Bunny follows her. Alice tells her that they are lying. Margaret didn't just fall, she slit her throat. Alice also tells Bunny that she went into the desert. Upon hearing this, Bunny gets upset and leaves her. Jack throws a celebration party and invites Frank. All their closest friends are there except Bunny and her husband. Alice stays in the kitchen to avoid everyone. Frank walks into the kitchen and tells her that he's sorry Bunny didn't believe her. He commends Alice and tells her that he always wanted someone who could oppose him. With Frank's words fresh on her mind, Alice decides to let all hell break loose at the dinner table. She points out that all the women are from Philadelphia, Baltimore or Chicago. The last beach everyone had been to was either Hilton Head, Cape Cod or Jersey Shore. And everyone's honeymoon was in Sea Island, Poconos or Niagara Falls. Frank just smiles at her. She asks Violet how she met her husband, but Alice has already guessed the answer. She says that the stories they're being told aren't real and that Frank knows something about it. Frank tries calming everybody with the excuse that Alice is going through some trauma from Margaret's fall. This only gets Alice angrier, making her reveal to everyone that she left town. This makes everybody suddenly uncomfortable. Shelley scolds Alice for her conduct. All the guests leave. Jack returns disappointed. Alice tries convincing him that Frank's hiding something and that they should run away while they still can. She gets in the car, but Jack suddenly starts apologizing. Alice is confused. The same men in red jumpsuits appear and take Alice away, but Jack does nothing to stop them. Alice is strapped and electrocuted. In a more modern setting, Alice walks out of an operating room in medical scrubs. She returns home and Jack is there. He has an American accent. He tries getting intimate with her, but she's tired and walks away. Jack returns to his computer and puts on his headphones. He's listening to Frank's voice. Jack drives Alice back home. Bunny welcomes her with a hug. In the lawns as the two relax, Alice doesn't seem to remember most of what Bunny's talking about. She claims everything's a bit of a blur. Alice returns to her usual routine. After Jack returns from work, he plays a record on the gramophone. It's the song Alice couldn't get out of her head. Back in the modern setting, Jack applies for the Victory Project and agrees to the terms and conditions. Alice is tied in the bed with her eyes forced open. The same visions Alice had are projected around the room. Jack lies beside her and enters what seems to be some sort of virtual world. Alice now remembers everything. She falls in shock. Jack tries helping her but she tells him to stay away. The two get into a heated argument. Jack defends himself saying that Frank built this world for them to live the life they deserved. He tells her that she was never happy working all the time. She argues that it was her life to live. He hugs her to comfort her but starts squeezing the breath out of her. She begs him to stop but he only squeezes tighter. She grabs a glass and smashes it in his head, killing him. Frank gets a call informing him that Jack's dead. Bunny covers Jack's dead body and tells Alice to leave. She tells Alice that they're going to kill her because if someone dies there, they die in the real world. Bunny had known the truth this whole time. She chose that life because at least there, her kids were still alive. Alice runs into a car and drives off. The men in red jumpsuits do the same and chase her into the desert. She manages to evade them. Frank instructs them to prevent her from escaping. Shelley stabs him once he puts the phone down. She tells him that it's her turn now. Alice gets to the structure she saw earlier. For a few moments, she feels Jack's presence. She overcomes it and reaches for the structure. The red light is emitted once again.